Good afternoon and welcome to Pan-African News. We are coming to you from our studios in Abelenkpe 48 Swanika Street here in Accra. Let me remind you that we are streaming live on Facebook at Pan-African Television. We are also live on YouTube at Pan-African Television. My name is Justice Appiah. Coming up in this afternoon's bulletin, the founder and leader of the Ghana Union Movement, Reverend Christian Kwabena Andrew, has said his government will construct bridge over River Oti. Residents of Nakupili fume over abandoned school structure. We'll look at allegations of robbery on University of Cape Coast campus. Later in business, we'll be bringing to you Boeing in talks to set up office in Ghana. Details of these stories, including sports, international news, and entertainment, will come your way for the next 1 hour. We're going for a short break. We'll be right back. Now moving on to our very first story for this afternoon. The founder and leader of the Ghana Union Movement, Reverend Christian Kwabena Andrew, popularly known as Pastor Chirabosom, has said his party will construct a bridge over River Oti when voted into power. He made this promise to the chief and people of Dambai in a store of the Oti region.
The paramount chief of Dambai, Nana Biano II, welcomed Osofo Chirabosom and his retinue to the Oti region.
Na YouTube so na new manisi o ye beti ma chichiri amai ene me pe na me kase de busa be se if we su kotira en president do say ayi tumi nye prejudicate a kase beti ma faso akọ de bi e kotira o twa asana ya na be pa so ni o ne so fo we are going to so
According to the pastor-turned-politician, projects which were established by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah have collapsed and some left unattended too. He said when voted to power, his government will revive such factories to boost job creation. Reverend Andrew said tolls taken at marketplaces will not be allocated to government but disbursed to chiefs for communal development. His visit to the Oti region took him to Jasikan, Krachi and other areas.
The governing New Patriotic Party, NPP, Kwabena Japan, has been spotted campaigning with President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo at the 7 December 2020 polls approach. George Yosevene has more on this.
Apart from being at Kobori, Zibila, in the Upper East, with the president, Mr. Ejapon, who is one of the 3 national executives of the party suspended in the lead-up to the 2016 general elections, has also been to the Bono East, Western North, Ashanti and Eastern regions on the campaign trail. Mr. Ejapon and the party's then chairman, Paul Afoko, as well then vice chair, Samik Rap, were suspended by the party's council over suspicion that they were working against the then flag bearer, Nana Akufo-Addo.
Now, the Minister of Interior, Ambrose Derry, has assured the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Aaron Michael Quay, that he will outline a plan to enhance the security of lawmakers in his presentation before Parliament today.
The Speaker of Parliament made this disclosure when he led a delegation from Parliament to sympathize with the family of the late Member of Parliament for Mfantiman, Eko Kwansa Hayford, who was allegedly murdered by armed robbers on his way back from a campaign rally with his team at Mankasim. Having summoned the Interior Minister to Parliament following the murder of the lawmaker, he revealed that the Interior Minister had assured him of making the presentation before the lawmaking body. Relating the MP's demise, the Minority Leader of Parliament, Haruna Idrisu, who was also part of the delegation, bemoaned the exceedingly worrying situation and urged the police to improve security in the country.
Now we'll cross over and then speak to Member of Parliament for Sagnarigu constituency, Honorable Alhaji Ebie Fuseni, to tell us why they are now calling for a personal security. Good afternoon, sir. All right, we are trying to reach the Member of Parliament for Sagnarigu constituency to speak to this particular matter. But I understand we'll be joined on phone by Mr. Adams Bona, who is a security analyst. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on Pan-African News this afternoon, Mr. Bona.
Thank you.
All right, on the issue of some, persons who have been murdered in recent times, including the Member of Parliament for Infantiman constituency, there have been calls that government provides security, personal security, to members of Parliament in this country. What do you make of that?
Oh, well, I think it's a reaction which is typical for our politicians. Probably their territory to be taken care of. They've forgotten that the insecurity we are faced with in this country, we are all confronting the insecurity facing us. And so if we are going to provide security just for members of Parliament, my brother, Mr. Pratt of Coach, Mr. Pratt will also begin for security for his office and for himself. I think we should again where there is enough security for every member of this republic. Let's not say members of Parliament should be given a certain type of security, and then the rest of us, we are left in the equation. No one is taking care of us. University of Cape Coast, this morning, we are told that there were there's some disturbing news coming from the armed robbery. Armed robbers going there and attacking students.
Hello.
And the list goes on. Are we going to say because of that, every journalist, because of Ahmed Swale, those who are doing this type of work, everybody should be given police? I mean, let's come again. I think that we should, what do you call that, relook at this situation, this issue, and then begin to look at strategies that would enhance security for all of us.
All right, but this is the second Member of Parliament who has been murdered without knowing persons who have carried out such, murder cases. isn't it enough for members of parliament to have asked that they're protected?
No, it's not enough. You know, I mean, I'm sure you know how many Ghanaians have died and was killed in his home. We've had who have become. There is general insecurity in the country. Let's talk about the general insecurity in the country. Instead of saying that let's provide security for members, of the legislative arm of government. For me, I think it is a call that is neither here nor there. We are all aware that bullion vans, when they are moving, with loaded rifle in front. We've had police officers who have been killed by armed robbers with what do you call that, loaded AK-47s. It did happen. And so, what are they going to say to that? If you can provide all the security you want to provide for our members of parliament, if there is general insecurity, they will talk them and robbery attacks, and there will still be, some of this disturbing news. Let's look at the way of dealing with insecurity in the country. If your neighbor's home is not protected, and your home is not protected, no one's home is protected, chances are that we are all going to be victims. But if we put in measures to protect everybody, the chances are that we all get protected. And so let's not begin to even entertain that idea. Do we actually even have the resources? We don't have it. When I did the mathematics on the calculation, you need approximately 1,250 police officers monthly to take care of 275 members of parliament. If you go to Kaswanyano area, okay, there is one police officer to about 3,000 citizens in Kaswa. Are we saying that the lives in Kaswa are not important? Go to Ashaman. Go to most communities in this country. There are not even police stations. Okay, and we should be looking at security for at least all of us. Security that is good enough to take care of all of us. Not security that is supposed to go for members of parliament alone. I mean, mine you see, this is actionary or, a knee-jerk reaction to dealing with this issue. I mean, there are crimes going on. Crimes have gone up, crime rates gone up more than the number one would have expected around this time. What are we doing? The president is saying if IGP doesn't deal with the crime. I mean, yes, it's important the president is saying it. And so let's put in a lot of resources, get the police officers to do what they have to do to protect all of us. Instead of saying, oh, let's single out members of parliament, give them security. What about myself and you? I mean, let's stop, probably advocating for something that, for me, I think is very synonymous with what our politicians usually want to have.
Now, briefly, let's look at some of the murder cases. We have that of the slain journalist, Ahmed Swale. We have that of the PR for Ghana Port and Harbour Authority. We have that of Member of Parliament for Buakwa North. We have that of the current Member of Parliament and some other ones that we do not know the perpetrators of these crimes. Can we say that we have a failed security system in this country based on some of these cases I have mentioned to you?
Not really. We cannot say because of the security challenges we have, the entire security architecture has failed. I think that it is slipping out of hand, but the truth is that we still go about our duties, everyday activities. We move from one location to the other. But that's notwithstanding. There are too many cold case files within the Ghana Police Service, which should have been dealt with by now. We don't know whether there are serial murderers or serial, killers on the loose. Are they contract killers on the loose? We don't know. It is because we have not resolved these institutions to the level where they can perform some of these functions. And apart from that, they have been politically infiltrated, so that you have people who are politically connected, they get employment into these services. And sometimes what they are asked to do, they don't do that. Recently, it's been in the news. A police officer had to gun down a taxi driver and attempt to sell the taxi for how much? You know, for 8,000 Ghana cedis. You ask yourself, why would a police officer join civilians, you know, and arm themselves, rob a civilian for a vehicle they will sell for 8,000 and get arrested? It tells you that the type of people who are getting recruited into the services is not up to what one would have expected. Secondly, when they are recruited, when they are done with their 6 months training, nobody sends them out again to train. And so the guy is there and he has to just help himself, which to me is not helping the crime fight in this country.
Anyway, but now let's look at what the country needs to do in order to make sure that the lapses we are seeing in our security architecture will be resolved. What do you think should be done?
Well, we have to relook at the security landscape. The president, I think, should act quickly. There has to be some changes. I think that the criminals now know, you know, we have a sleepy security, you know, blueprint. It's not working. The security, whatever we put in place doesn't seem to be working. So literally they are taking advantage of it. I think that there should be some changes at the top. If these changes are properly effective, it will help. Somewhere 2 years ago, we had Operation Come Live. They relaunched it when crime went up. Crime did when they bought motorbikes for police officers to go out there and do patrols. You go to most police stations, they are vehicles, but there's no fuel for them to move around. And even if they are full, they are using the vehicles to perform unsanctioned operations because monitoring and control is haven't been what one would have expected. And so let's really look at the whole security architecture and see what can be done. It is a whole thing. And if you take the national security, the way they perform abysmally, it tells you that if everything would have to start with national security, and you have a sleeping national security, chances are that intelligence, the guys who are supposed to be gathering information and researching and making sure that they are collecting intel, you know, on bad people and using that intel to arrest the bad people before they act. If those people don't know what they are doing, then we seem to definitely be digging our own grave. And so as far as I'm concerned, these things would have to be done in a manner that probably would involve almost all of us. But unfortunately, we are watching what the executive will do. Those who have elected, we are watching them. On the personal note, I would say we all have to put in a lot more precautionary measures. Be alert. Don't go out in the night if it's not necessary. If you have to travel outside Accra, be sure that the route you are taking is a route that could be free of armed robbery or roadblocks for highway robberies. If all of us are going to be a bit alert, chances are that we will travel from one place to the other safely. This MP who died, we are told that he got to the place around 1 a.m. I mean, one would have expected that, you know, maybe he would have waited till the following morning for him to start moving. But he, you know, started moving. I mean, he's already gone. And so one would say, these are some of the things I probably would be saying we should look at.
Now, finally, before I let you go, the Ghana Revenue Authority has impounded some, you know, arms at the port that were brought into this country or imported illegally. And let's look at that issue coupled with the recent increase in crime in this country, especially murder cases and armed robbery cases and all of that. Do you think that these two have some sort of connection?
Oh yes, they do, because the illicit, the proliferation of you know, illicit firearms or illicit firearms within this country. If you know, these days 8 out of every 10 violent crimes are committed using firearms. It tells you that if there are people who are smuggling these firearms into this country undetected, recently what they arrested is just probably a tip of the iceberg. how many of them have they sneaked in that we didn't see? Do we have records of what these people have been bringing in? When they brought them, where did they go to? So yes, these firearms have direct connection to the crime rate we are seeing, because if they were not probably arrested, these would have found their way into this country, and anybody at all could have purchased them and licensed them. This is what is probably fueling the crimes we are seeing, and also fueling political vigilantism and landguardism in this country.
All right, thank you so much for speaking to us, Mr. Adams-Bona. We are so grateful for your time. We've been speaking to Mr. Adams-Bona. He is a security analyst, and he's been telling us his position on the general security lapses we have in the country currently, coupled with some persons who have been murdered in recent times, including the Member of Parliament for Infantiman constituency, who was killed just recently. Away from that, chaotic scenes from the University of Cape Coast campus have been shared on social media following alleged attacks by students by men armed with knives and guns. According to students, over the years, they have battled issues of robbery on campus, sometimes at knife point.
The situation seems to have worsened with the return of the continuing students to campus to write their end of semester exams, following the reopening of schools after some of the restrictions brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic were lifted. Many of them have taken to social media with the hashtag UCC Lives Matter, and that is currently trending at #1 on Twitter, with calls for the police to act swiftly. However, school authorities and the University of Cape Coast Police seem unaware of the occurrence. According to the police, they have 2 dedicated patrol teams on campus, but as of the time of this report, they were unaware of the situation.
Now, residents of Nakupili in the northern region of Ghana have accused the governing New Patriotic Party of abandoning a school structure which was started by the Eswa Mahama administration.
According to them, the edifice was among the first 50 built as part of the 200 community day schools undertaken by the NDC government. When Pan-African Television visited the scene, it was evident that the building had been completed and probably just needed some 1 or 2 finishing touches. In an interview, some of the residents narrated their ordeal.
The contractor who was in charge was a former Northern Regional Chairman, Azoka. And since NDC left power, actually, we don't know what is happening. The block is left at the mercy of the weather. Actually, the whole community is not happy about the way they have abandoned us. We have followed up to the district assembly and whoever matter to the project, and there is no response. Actually, it is recently that we've made some follow-ups to the regional minister, and it's like they told us that they will come and do something, and we are not seeing it. So we are appealing to everybody, whoever thinks maybe can help us to maybe open this school. We will be very, very much happy. The whole community actually is not happy. They are not happy at all about the way the project is being left. Well, the whole community, if you look at the way we contribute to the taxpayers' the monies, it is not small. Though Nakupili is a farming community, we farm yams, and if you look at it, the way we contribute tax to the group of the district assembly is never small. So we are appealing to the government, the DC, the MP, the regional minister, and whoever matters to actually to come to they should come to our aid. We are not happy. Even if they don't take time, it will come to a time. This is an election year. Anybody, NPP, NDC, whoever is coming to do politics here, we will not allow them in. We are not just happy at all. The chiefs and people of Nakupili, indeed, in fact, they are not happy.
In fact, the building behind me is an e-block which was started by the former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, in 2014 December. Actually, when the NDC left power, the project has been abandoned since 2016 up to date. And you see, this project, when it is completed, will enable Nakupili to also develop to the standards of Eastfold. In fact, this e-block, when it is established, indeed, Nakupili has a lot of infrastructure that will be able to cater for whoever is coming. Even though we know that this community day school this SHS is a day school. It's a day school indeed. So when students are in this school, in fact, we have a lot of infrastructure in Nakupili to be able to cater for them. Where to sleep is not going to be a problem. The masters who will be posted to this community will also have where to sleep. So Nakupili is indeed a small community, but there are many infrastructure in Nakupili community that can take care of people who are going to be posted to this place. In fact, we are appealing to whoever is concerned or any stakeholder who can take charge of this our school to be able to establish it to its fullest, so that we can also catch up with the world. In fact, and Nakupili will be happy, will be very, very grateful for whoever comes. But we are appealing to the government, the DCE, the minister, the Northern Regional Minister, and the Educational Directorate to also beef up their ways in which they can also enable us to have this school fully established. In fact, we will be much grateful if this is done for us.
Well, this report was filed by my colleague Elizabeth Banfo. But away from that, with a recent heavy downpour with its associated impact, including floods in some parts of the country, we'll be speaking to the appropriate authorities to tell us, or give us an update on the weather. And so we'll be speaking to Felicity Fianyo, Acting Head of Central Analysis and Forecast Office. Good afternoon, Madam, and welcome to Pan-African News.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Can you briefly update us on the weather currently?
Yes, good afternoon to our dear listeners and viewers. For the update for today, this afternoon, we are not expecting much activities in terms of rain over the entire country, except some areas in Takwa and then Qatar that will have some afternoon rain this afternoon. By evening, we have some more areas that will be involved. Those around Hukufuridia, Achinga, Kumasi, and then parts of Obwasi will have some rain. And then some thunder and rain is expected over Tintampo, Gosho, Shinyani, Techina, Yendi, and then Tamale. Places around about Katanga will also have some 40% chance of thunderstorm with rain this evening. Tomorrow morning, no much activities expected except mist and fog patches over some areas along the coast. Those around Kaswa, Cape Coast, Takwadi, Axim will have some mist and foggy conditions. At the 60, Koforidia, the gray areas, we are likely to get some foggy, and the visibilities are expected to be very poor, less than 1,000 in foggy conditions, but in mixing to be between 5,000 and 3,000 meters. But then for the whole week, we still anticipate rain and thunder over the middle sector and parts of the coastal belt. The north, we just have some few cases. So from today through to Sunday, rain is still in the forecast for southern Ghana and fewer activities for the northern sector.
Now let's look at the activities of your office. We've seen, heavy rainfalls currently, where some parts of the country have actually flooded, including Accra. How often do you update the good people of Ghana on some of these things, especially when it comes to the weather and rainfalls?
Thank you very much for this important question that you have raised. It has been a challenge. When it comes to Ghana Meteorological Agency, we have so many units or so many departments. We have officers on the field in all the 16 regions that takes the weather reading every hour. And we have the airport stations, they take it every 30 minutes. Then we have automatic weather stations to also scatter. We have one from Kamo, about 100 of them. And the Ghana Meteorological Agency too, we also have almost 12 pieces of that. So we collect all this data together, and then we add it up to our model chart that they use mathematics and physics to derive this model chart, the wind chart, the pressure chart, the temperature chart, the dew point chart, and so forth. Now we come to the forecasting section. Analysis and forecasting, that's the approach 24/7. We run shifts. So if it is night time, a forecaster is on duty working. If it's a Saturday, it's a holiday, it's a Sunday, the forecasters are on the bench working. Now, in a day, we issue 3 times forecast in a day. Today, we've issued 2 already. One as early as 5 a.m. that takes care of the whole day. And then one at 11 a.m. that takes care of the afternoon today to evening to tomorrow morning. Then by 5 p.m., we will issue another one, which will take care of the evening today to tomorrow afternoon. So if you pick, you see that we tell you how the morning hours will be, how the afternoon hours will be, and how the evening hours will be. What I gave you before was the forecast that we prepared this afternoon, and that was what I gave you. So the areas that we are anticipating rain are the areas that I've measured for you and the time. So now, if you get this, will you tell us that you've not gotten the weather forecast from GMAT? Will you accuse us? No, you will not accuse us. But if you don't care, it's sunny now in Accra, nothing is happening. But then if the rain starts now, they will start accusing GMAT forecast office that they will not be issuing the forecast to the public.
Very well. Which mediums do you use in communicating forecast to the good people of Ghana? It looks as if it doesn't go down well with a lot of people.
Yes, when it comes to West Africa, we don't have the hurricanes, we don't have the tropical cyclones that will wipe thousands of souls, so we don't pay attention to it unless we start seeing the clouds before we now come out to be looking for the forecast. Sorry to say, so if not because of what happened, I don't know, Pan-African TV, you may not have called us today. Meanwhile, we have a list of media houses that we give the forecast to. You send the forecast and nobody cares. And I may ask you, did you receive this afternoon forecast? Maybe no. Maybe yes. But then did you translate it to, did you publish it for your viewers and your listeners to know? No. But then when you start seeing the clouds, the sky becomes dark. That one, yes, we do it. So these are the challenges that we are having. We have WhatsApp pages, we have Facebook accounts, we have Twitter, we have a website that we put all this information onto, so that anytime you can get it. And almost all the forecasters on the bench have using their personal WhatsApp page platform. That once the forecast is ready, irrespective of who is on duty, send the forecast. We also send it, put it on that. And we encourage our members to also translate it to their old school union platforms, to their church platforms. And we have been trying our best. But then if the media can also come in and earmark March to October every year, and then be updating the public as and when necessary. For instance, 3 times in a day, it will help us. All those things will be clean of the past.
Has your outfit, in actual fact, had that conversation with the media, especially, to know the importance of this and why this should always be broadcast on our channels?
Yes, we've been having a series of conversations. Even as I speak with you, we have a media platform, WhatsApp platform for GMAT, where we have a list of them. And they too, once the forecast is ready, we put it there.
Okay.
You understand? And currently too, we are trying our possible best to bring all of you on board and then have some little trainings, some little workshop and brainstorm and see how best you can be of a help to GMAT in times of the forecast getting to the masses.
All right, thank you so much for speaking to us. We are so grateful for your time. We've been speaking to Madame Felicity Aha Fianyo, Acting Head of Central Analysis and Forecast Office at the Ghana Meteorological Services. Away from that, let's do some health story. As part of efforts to create awareness on breast cancer across the globe by institutions and individuals, our health desk takes a thorough look at the cause of the deadly disease.
Changes or mutations in DNA can cause normal breast cells to become cancer. Certain DNA changes are passed on from parents and can greatly increase your risk for breast cancer. Other lifestyle-related risk factors, such as what you eat and how much you exercise, can increase your chance of developing breast cancer, but it is not yet known exactly how some of these factors cause normal cells to become cancer. Hormones seem to play a role in many cases of breast cancer, but just how this happens is not fully understood. Normal breast cells become cancer because of changes in DNA. DNA is a chemical in our cells that makes up our genes. Genes have the instructions for how our cells function. Some DNA mutations are inherited or passed to you from your parents. This means the mutations are in all your cells when you are born. Some mutations can greatly increase the risk of certain cancers. They cause many of the cancers that run in some families and often cause cancer when people are younger. But most DNA mutations linked to breast cancer are acquired. This means the change takes place in breast cells during a person's life rather than having been inherited or born with them. Acquired DNA mutations take place over time and are only in the breast cancer cells. Proto-oncogenes are genes that help cells grow normally. When a proto-oncogene mutates, or there are too many copies of it, it becomes a bad gene that can stay turned on or activated when it's not supposed to be. When this happens, the cell grows out of control and makes more cells that grow out of control as well. This can lead to cancer. This bad gene is called an oncogene. Think of a cell as a car. For the car to work properly, there need to be ways to control how fast it goes. A proto-oncogene normally functions in a way that's much like a gas pedal. It helps control how and when the cell grows and divides. An oncogene is like a gas pedal that's stuck down, which causes the cell to divide out of control. Tumor suppressor genes are normal genes that slow down cell division or cell growth, repair DNA mistakes, or tell cells when to die, a process known as apoptosis or programmed cell death. When tumor suppressor genes don't work properly, cells can grow out of control, make more cells that grow out of control, and cells don't die when they should, which can lead to cancer. A tumor suppressor gene is like the brake pedal on a car. It normally keeps the cell from dividing too quickly, just as a brake keeps a car from going too fast. When something goes wrong with the gene, such as mutation, the brakes don't work and cell division can get out of control.
You're still watching Pan-African News Radio on Pan-African Television. We are coming to you from our studios in Abelinkwe, 48 Swanika Street here in Accra. Coming up in business, Boeing in talks to set up office in Ghana. Details of this particular story shortly after this break. We'll be right back.
Breakfast your day. Every day. Every day.
Nestle. Good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Back. Now let's do some business stories. American aircraft manufacturer Boeing is exploring the possibility of setting up a maintenance, repair and overhaul facility in Ghana to serve the West African sub-region.
Grounding of the plane makers 737 MAX by airlines over safety concerns after two deadly accidents cancelled 737 MAX orders. Compensation to clients and the COVID-19 pandemic have conspired to enroll the company's fortunes. The move by the plane maker, which had to accept government support in order to avoid more layoffs, is imperative to deepen its footprint in the African region. Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Reginald Yofi Grant, who confirmed the talks, said there had been discussions of Boeing having an office in Ghana to service planes in the sub-region and also in Africa. He added that in West Africa, a number of airlines have Boeing planes in their fleets. Nigeria-based Air Peace and Arik Air, as well as Togo-based Askai Airlines, have significant numbers of Boeing equipment. The GIPC boss stressed that the desire to engage Boeing follows the success of getting world-renowned automobile brands to set up here in Ghana. The companies include VW, Nissan, Toyota, and Sinotruk. VW has already begun production of 5 Volkswagen models, which are Tiguan, Amarok pickup, Passat, Polo, and Terramont at its Accra plants. Nissan and Toyota are expected to open their own plants this year.
Now, the Movement for Truth and Accountability group located in Achimota has petitioned the Ghana Revenue Authority and Financial Intelligence over a list of 500 companies allegedly involved in money laundering. According to the group, the pace at which investigations are conducted by the institutions that be is too slow, hence their decision to fasten the process.
The Movement for Truth and Accountability group, in a press release, shows interest in investigating companies involved in money laundering cases. The group believes that processes to investigate these cases are slow, hence want to put pressure on the appropriate institutions to expedite the processes. According to them, records show that some companies transfer monies outside the country without going through the right protocols at the blind side of the central bank, the Bank of Ghana. The list of companies involved is made up of importers ranging from automobile, fridges, air condition, brand new tires, frozen chicken, sugar, spare parts, mobile phones, etc. The group plans to publicly release names of companies and the amount involved in 2 weeks, as well as 17 microfinance companies that are suspected to have been transferring money to some Chinese companies with evidence.
And that'll be all for business. Up next is international news. Back now, let's do some international stories from our international partners. People's Dispatch, a consortium of Iraqi militant groups on Sunday, October 11, announced that they are temporarily suspending their rocket missile attacks on the occupying U.S. forces present in Iraq on the condition that the Iraqi government will work towards a timetable for their complete removal from the country. Many of these Iraqi militant groups have been fighting the U.S. forces since the U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2003 and the subsequent occupation, which continues to the present day.
The groups have also warned that if the U.S. troops do insist on staying, they would automatically become a target of even more violent attacks. Khatib Hezbollah, one of the most powerful of the militias in Iraq, in a statement published on behalf of the consortium calling itself the Iraqi Resistance Coordination Commission, said that the factions have presented a conditional ceasefire and that it includes all factions of the anti-US resistance, including those who have been targeting US forces. Mohammed Mohi, spokesperson for Khatib Hezbollah, also added that The proposal for a ceasefire is specifically directed at the Iraqi government, since it is mostly concerned about the implementation of the decision of the Iraqi House of Representatives. The Iraqi parliament, in the aftermath of the illegal and deadly U.S. drone strike inside Iraqi territory in January this year, which killed top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani and one of the top leaders of the Iraqi Shia militias, Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis, had passed a resolution which called for the expulsion of all foreign troops from the country. The U.S. government has hinted recently that it is deciding whether to close its embassy in Iraq or not due to the increasingly frequent missile attacks targeting it. It has also issued warnings that it would take matters into its own hands and start launching airstrikes targeting the Iraqi militias if the Iraqi government fails to provide protection to U.S. troops and installations in the country.
Now let's go to Jordan, where Bashir al-Khashwani took charge of Jordan's new prime minister on Monday, October 12. He was sworn into office by King Abdullah II. Bashir replaced Omar al-Razaz, who resigned on October 3 after the dissolution of the parliament.
According to the Jordanian constitution, the prime minister has to resign within a week of the dissolution of the parliament. The king had dissolved the parliament in the last week of September after the completion of its 4-year term. The new elections for the parliament will be held on November 10, and the new government has the responsibility to oversee it. Bashir's predecessor had a brief term in office. Omar Razaz was appointed by the king after a popular protest against the IMF-induced tax hike had forced the then Prime Minister Hani Mulki to resign in June 2018. Bashir al-Khashwani is a former diplomat and was a policy advisor to the king before he was designated Prime Minister last week. He will have a difficult task to manage the Jordanian economy, which is expected to contract 6% this year due to COVID-19 related lockdowns and other reasons. The poverty and unemployment in mostly aid-dependent country is rising, with more and more people complaining about the lack of basic services. People in Jordan are also opposing the curbs imposed by the government, apparently to curb the spread of COVID-19. The country has over 26,000 reported cases of COVID-19 infections and has recorded a total of 207 deaths due to it. The previous government had been criticized by the people for failing to contain its spread on time. The government was also criticized for failing to take effective measures to deal with the disease. The new cabinet has 32 members, in which foreign and finance ministers in the previous government, Ayman Safadi and Mohammed Al-Isis, have been retained. Several technocrats have been newly inducted in the government to help tackle the specific challenges the country is facing.
Finally, on the international front, on October 12, Monday, the Communist Party of Ukraine, KPU, slammed the decision by the right-wing government in the country to summon the leadership of media agency Golos UA. The media outlet was summoned as directed by the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, for broadcasting a video message by KPU Secretary Petro Simonenko on the occasion of Victory Day on May 9 this year.
The day marks the anniversary of the defeat of Nazi Germany during World War II. The SBU has reported to the Ministry of Justice that by broadcasting the communist leader's message, Golos UA violated provisions of the decommunization law in Ukraine. As in the case of other East European countries with right-wing governments, decommunization laws are in place in Ukraine, intended to dismantle the legacies of the communist state establishments, culture, and ideology in these post-communist states. Such laws are used to ban communist symbols and publications, raise down Soviet-era monuments, and persecute communists. In Ukraine, the witch hunt against communists started with the banning of the KPU in 2015 under the instigation of the previous government led by Petro Poroshenko, following the right-wing Euromaidan protests from 2013 to 2014. The policy has been continued by the current government of Volodymyr Zelensky. In 2016, the National Council on Television and Radio withdrew the license of Gamma TV channel for broadcasting Victory Day message by Simonenko. In August 2019, The Chief District Court banned the pro-communist newspaper Wabuchaya Gazeta, workers' newspaper founded in 1897. The ruling was upheld by the 6th Appeal Administrative Court in Ukraine in November 2019. In a statement on Monday, the KPU said that in post-modern Ukraine, the SBU performs the functions of a political police. As per the KPU, the attack on the independent news agency, Golos UA, under the pretext of violating the anti-constitutional law on decommunization by broadcasting Simonenko's Victory Day message, is nothing more than a continuation of the state policy for the glorification of Nazism and fascism in Ukraine. It is a denial of the role of the communists and the Soviet people in the victory over Hitlerized Germany and its Euro searchlights.
That's all for international stories. Credit to People's Dispatch for those stories. Up next, a sports update with Eve Edwards.
The solution to all our air conditioning problems. When you need an expert in installation, servicing and repairs of your air condition in your offices, residential and commercial areas, then look no further than Patriotic Enterprise. We also deal in the sale of air condition and air condition parts. We are located at Awosh NIC right on George Junction. You can call us now on 055-934-0339. Patriotic Enterprise, the children experts, we improvise, adapt and overcome.
My name is Eve. Now let's do some sports. The Black Stars of Ghana produced a fine comeback from their 3-0 defeat to their West African neighbors Mali to hand the 2022 World Cup host Qatar a big defeat in Turkey. 2 assists from new Arsenal midfielder Thomas Partey inspired Ghana to a 5-1 triumph over Qatar in an international friendly fixture played yesterday.
It was a good response by 4-time African champions Ghana, who suffered a disappointing 3-0 loss to Mali on Friday. Ghana's CK Akono made 5 changes to his starting lineup for Monday's tie. Shotstopper Razak Abalora, Slovakia-based right back Benson Annan, Celta Vigo centre-back Joseph Edu, Real Mallorca midfielder Mohamed Idrisu Baba, and Saudi Arabia-based Samuel Owusu were handed starting berth. St. Gallen goalkeeper Lawrence Atizigi, Amiens centre-back Nicholas Opoku, Hoffenheim defender Kasim Adams Nuhu, Besiktas attacker Bernard Mensah, and Israel-based Eugene Ansah were relegated to the bench. Ghana's first chance at goal came in the 14th minute when Andre Ayew, after being picked up by Partey with a through ball, beat 3 men inside the box, but his final shot went straight to goalkeeper Saad Al-Sheib. Brentford winger Tariq Fosu took Ghana into the lead with a tap-in from close range after Jordan Ayew's first shot was denied by the goalkeeper. With a minute to end of half-time of proceedings, Qatar brought the game's scoreline to parity when centre-back Kuki Boalem floated a long ball over the Ghana defensive line. The ball beat Ghana centre-back Edu and perfectly fell to Almoez, who lifted his first touch over the goalkeeper Abalora before hitting a shot into an empty net to make it 1-1. Ghana came back with renewed energy as Partey saw a shot following a run from deep saved away by goalkeeper Shi. A minute after first half recess, Jordan laid a good ball for brother Andre in the Qatari box, but the Swansea City attacker saw his first shot saved by the goalkeeper and his rebound rattled the post. In the 63rd minute, Captain Andre Ayew finally brought the Black Stars 2-1 up after beating an offside trap to receive a neat pass from Partey in the box. The 30-year-old then slaughtered a cool effort beyond the goalkeeper. 2 minutes later, Ghana extended its lead to 3-1 through Saudi-based Samuel Owusu, who produced a composed finish after being picked out by Pate with a
Now moving on, Ghana Premier League side Kumasi Asante Kotoko has confirmed the signing of Ghanaian international goalkeeper Razak Abalora on a 3-year deal.
The shortstopper has been unattached after ending his 3-year stay with Tanzanian club Azam FC in July after rejecting a contract extension with the club. Abalora joined Azam in 2017 from Wafa and was impressive during his 3-year stay with the club. The 24-year-old was in post when the Black Stars of Ghana defeated Qatar in an international friendly played in Turkey on Monday. The goalkeeper will join the Porcupine Warriors, who are currently camped in Koforidua, where they are preparing for the new Premier League season.
Now on our final story, a committee made up of 9 members has been appointed to organize the 2023 African Games, dubbed African Olympic Games, to be held in Ghana. They were sworn in at the Jubilee House by the President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo.
The committee is made up of the Ghana Olympic Committee President Ben Nunu Mensah, Rex Brobe, an Olympian, Dr. Emmanuel Owusu-Ansah, an advisor to the Minister of Youth and Sport, Miss Eva Ochre, a legal practitioner, Dan Kweku Yeboah, a sport journalist, and Dr. Kweku Ofosu-Asare, a lecturer, researcher at GEMPA. They were sworn in at the Jubilee House on Monday, where the President of the nation, His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, urged them to handle the successful hosting and staging of the 13th African Games, the Olympic Games of Africa in Ghana. Dr. Kweku Owusu-Asare is chairman, with Dr. Owusu-Ansah as Chief Operating Officer and Rex Brobe as Deputy Chief Operating Officer. The 13th edition of the Africa Games, formerly known as All African Games, would involve 54 participating countries and 25 sporting disciplines. The government, Ministry of Youth and Sport, and National Sports Authority will work closely with SWAG to ensure that Ghanaians are aware of the games, and also the athletes will be well prepared and promoted for the games by the media.
That will be all for sport. Entertainment is next.
Back. Many thanks to Eve Edwards for the update in sports. Now let's do some entertainment story. 2 of Ghana's biggest female reggae dancehall musicians, Mishasha and Miss V, have confirmed that they will drop a collaborative project dubbed One by One on October 16, 2020, which could become the first female dancehall collaboration in the country.
This tune is made by Kizabit. The two musicians musicians will exhibit their artistry powers, vocal skill, and versatility on the project themed Female Reggae and Dancehall Empowerment and spearheaded by Red Panther Music and Wave Record, Germany. The single will also empower and encourage collaborations between female reggae dancehall artists in Ghana and across the globe. Living through a significant era of music collaboration, this single, produced by Cash 2, will also provide breakthrough opportunity for the talent and reviving the careers of more established ones. Miss V's music contains elements of Afro-pop, R&B, dancehall, and her strong vocal abilities. Known in private life as Vera Hermano Peda, her trademark natural African hair and hit single Natural Girl has inspired young girls. Tekwan has inspired more girls across Africa who want to celebrate their natural look. Earlier, dancehall queen Michelle Jacobs released a new single titled Informal B. The song is an Afrobeat jam that shows the singer's versatility as it sways away from her dancehall themed debut single Pretty and Dangerous.
That's how we wrap up this edition of Pan African News right here on Pan African Television. Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter at Pan African Television. My name is Justice Appiah. Keep watching Pan African Television. Up next is Youth Empowerment Show.